Hello and welcome to episode number 21 of AEW Rise to the Top. We're back again. Dynamite, Dark. We're 21 episodes in. You get it by this point. You understand how this works by now. Beautiful. Dark, then Dynamite. Let's just jump straight in to the episode of Dark. Last week we had a 37. Hopefully we can get a bit higher than that this week. Let's find out. And we are kicking off with the monster Wardlow taking on Brandon Cutler, and it is Wardlow who picks up the victory in just over 10 minutes with an F10. The segment got a 33 rating, Wardlow 38, Cutler 39. Sorry, other way around. 39 for Wardlow, 38. The match was a poor start to the show, but lifting the crowd got them buzzing. A bunch of penalties. Who cares about the penalties? Like I said, Dark is for building people up so they can move on to Dynamite, and Dynamite can just be getting like sick rating after sick rating after sick rating. So now let's move on to the next segment where we go backstage to see Kathy Kelly interviewing Christian Casanova. And Kathy Kelly says, "Christian, you have a huge match tonight in the main event. You have a huge match tonight in the main event against Jasper Cowan. How have you been preparing?" And Christian Casanova says, "Well, Kathy, I've been training hard, watching the tapes. I've been waiting for this match for a while now, and I'm going to give this man one hell of a fight." So I got a 34 rating. The newbie storyline advanced with this segment. Kathy Kelly enjoyed going off script, and Christian Casanova didn't. So yeah, that's our main event. Christian Casanova versus Jasper Cowan. This has been building up ever since Jasper Cowan's debut, pretty much, a few weeks ago, month ago. I can't remember how long it's been. It's been a while. So yeah, this has been building up, and we're finally going to get the big payoff this evening. Tonight in the main event. Let's move on to the next segment. Oh my god, this is going to be a terrible show. Where we have Kris Statlander taking on Penelope Ford, and it is Penelope Ford who picks up the big victory, defeating Kris Statlander by submission after interference from the Bunny. The Bunny and Kris Statlander have really been at each other's throats in recent weeks, and you have to think that costing her a match against Penelope Ford is just going to make Kris Statlander even angrier. It's got a 26 rating. Didn't seem thrilled seeing Penelope Ford. The Bunny or Alien storyline advance. Statlander had a 36, Ford had a 25, and the crowd were turned off by having this match outside the pre-show. Dark, I know I say this every blooming episode, but Dark is going to just plummet for a bit, but then it's going to get good. Hopefully, fingers crossed. That's the idea, is that it's going to be a bit rubbish while we sort of build up the stars, but then after we build them up, we can, the ratings will start to go up a bit. So that's good. Let's move on to the next segment where we have a video playing, hyping up Kip Sabian, who will be in action next week. It's got a 41 rating. Nice little thingy. Nice little, just a quick hype package to show that Kip Sabian will be back in action. I've missed a segment here. I've built this wrong. I'm very sorry. This is something's going to not make sense, but I'll explain in a minute. Next up, we have the Butcher and the Blade taking on Shima and T-Hawk of Strong Hearts. And in a match that lasted just over 13 minutes, it is the Butcher and the Blade who pick up the win when the Butcher pinned T-Hawk. Our first higher than 50 rated segment so far. The Butcher had a 41 and the Blade had a 47. T-Hawk had a 45 and Shima had a 55. A nice little match there. I'm really hoping that this main event is going to be good. I really need this main event to be good. But next up we have... So this was supposed to go, as you can tell by the people in it, after the women's match. So after the bell rings, the Bunny runs into the ring and starts to attack Kris. Kris manages to throw her off and hits her with a huge clothesline. She then jumps onto the Bunny and is laying into her face with elbow after elbow after elbow. Eventually, the referee has to come along and pull Kris off as we cut to black with the segments. These two really just going at it fully now. The Bunny or Alien storyline advanced and gained heat. That shows you how low heat this storyline has, that 37 rating is boosting the heat of the storyline, but that's okay. So yeah, a nice little segment there. So like I said, this was supposed to go after the women's match, but again, I messed up putting them in the thing. But now we go to the main event of the evening. Christian Casanova taking on Jasper Cown. These two have been at each other's throats for weeks now. And finally, they're going to get their hands on each other. And it is Jasper Cown who picks up the victory by pinfall, clean as a whistle. It's got a 53 rating. Christian Casanova had a performance of 49. Jasper Cowan had a performance of 53. And the newbie storyline advanced and ended. And a nice main event for this show. So Jasper Cowan, what's next for him? Picking up a big win in the main event of Dark. And what's next for Christian Casanova? Seems so far he's had opportunities, but he's not been able to pick up victories in the big matches. So who knows what's going to go on with these two in the coming weeks and months. But now let's finish the show and see the rating that we got. And it's a 44. That's much better. I thought that was going to be worse, considering the first three are like 34 was the highest segment we had out of the first three. But 44 is good. It's an improvement on last week. It's okay. It will do for now. And 44 rating. Once again, I'm just glad that this doesn't impact the popularity. But with that being said, it's time for AEW Dynamite. And let me just tell you what a huge show we have tonight. We've got Jon Moxley in action. We've got Hangman Adam Page back in action. And we have got a huge tag team number one contenders championship matchup between Private Party and the Dark Order. That's all coming at you in just a few seconds time when we go live to AEW Dynamite. Don't go anywhere. Hello and welcome back to AEW Dynamite. It's a new day. Yes, it is for me. That was a wrestling pun. Very good. I recorded Dark a couple of days ago, but I'm back fresh for Dynamite. Last week we got a 71 rating, which is decent for us. So let's see what we get this week. Let's just jump straight into it. Okay, that is a bleeding nice start. So in the opening matchup, I should say we're at Daly's Place. We're at the home of AEW in front of 5,329 people. And first off, we have the Four Horsemen's MJF in his first matchup since losing to Jon Moxley for the AEW World Championship a few weeks ago. And he is taking on one half of SCU, Frankie Kazarian. And it is MJF who picks up the win in just under 8 minutes with the Salt of the Earth. I got a nice 70 rating. Oh, better than I thought it was going to be, to be honest. MJF had a 60, Kazarian had a 63. I can't remember what your name was, but someone told me how to get rid of the morale, which just give them loads of money. So I did that, but I didn't get it all the way with MJF, and I gave him like 25 grand or something. And he's gone down from like angry to annoyed or irritated or something. So it's better, but it's still not great. But yeah, so he still had the low morale, but that's alright. I'll give him a bit more money in a few weeks' time, and we'll see what happens with that. So a nice way to start off the show, and now let's move on to the next segment. Awesome. So we head backstage to see Kathy Kelly interviewing Tony Storm. Things have seemed to be really heating up between you and Big Swole. What's your opinion on how she's been conducting herself? Before I came here, I'd sit in my flat in the UK watching AEW every Wednesday night, and Big Swole was someone I was so excited to meet and work with. So when she came out after my debut and hugged me, I was ecstatic. But obviously, the Swole I saw before I came here is not the same Swole who's here now. And at Full Gear, I'm going to show her she messed with the wrong bitch. That's a 36 rating. Pretty decent. The Dark Order growth storyline advanced. We got Kathy Kelly, Tony Storm there. Obviously, a couple weeks ago on her debut, Big Swole came out, gave her a big old hug, and then decked her and officially joined the Dark Order. Kathy Kelly, again, I forgot to give anyone scripts, to be honest, because I always do. But she's getting better at her gimmick, which is very nice, but they both have poor gimmicks, so wasn't going to go well. But it's got a 36 rating, which is decent. Next up, we have Pac and Pentagon Jr. coming down to the ring with microphones. Cody, Matt, Nick, you brought us here to AEW because you knew what we could do, what we are capable of, yet you still make the mistake of pissing us off. So we want to show you how painful that mistake is. Full Gear, Death Triangle versus the Elite. We will break you and make what you did to Ray look like a fucking tea party. The Titantron then flickers and a video starts to play. 72 rating. Just like Pac, give him promos. Get him on the show every week, he's so good. The Death Triangle storyline advanced and the Trio storyline advanced. Pac did a masterful job of improvising interactions with the crowd because he's amazing. It was penalised due to the storyline's low heat, but 72 is peng-a-lang. That's pretty decent. So now let's move on. Let's see what that video is that starts to play. And the video is... Oh my god, 83. The video that comes up shows a close-up of the Elite. Cody says, Pac, it's so nice to hear from you. You know, recently it seems like every time you go to open your mouth, Matt and Nick kick the words right out of there. Now onto the challenge. I mean, of course we accept. The Elite and Death Triangle has money written all over it. But there is one thing you should have checked before offering us this match. Where's Ray? The camera pans back and we see a bloodied Ray Phoenix laid out on the floor. Cody then says, he's a bit tougher than we gave him credit for, you know. He came back way too soon, but don't worry, we won't make that mistake again. Matt puts a chair around Ray's leg and Nick does the same around his head. They climb up ladders they have set up and hit stereo leg drops onto the chairs. Ray is writhing in agony, struggling to breathe. So the Elite going full bad boy heels here, attacking Ray Phoenix, and I'll show you why this happened. Basically, after I finished recording the last episode, I went through the days, and Ray Phoenix was wrestling with AAA, and then it came up and he had an injury that was going to leave him out for just over a year. So that's fun. First long-term injury of the save. I've been waiting for it to happen. It's annoying that it's Ray Phoenix because I really wanted to use him. But we managed to give him some surgery, so now he's only going to be out for a very short 6 months. Like, great. He'll be back for what, like... he'll be back for Double or Nothing, I guess, maybe. Who knows? But I got an 83 rating. So yeah, Ray Phoenix, this is the way to, get him written off TV for a bit. Well, for half a bleeding year while he has surgery and everything. I put that as 5 minutes and it was still too short. That's okay though. Cody got a bonus being an amazing heel, which is great. I did this, and with Pac, I only set it to rate Pac and Cody because they're obviously like a lot better than the other guys on the mic. So I thought, why not? Let's cheese the game a little bit. But yeah, the Trio storyline advanced and gained heat, which is beautiful. The second got an 83 rating, which is amazing. And now let's move on to the next segment where we have a video showing cheerleader Melissa and Deonna Purrazzo training hard together in a private gym. This is the first time we've seen either of these two since Purrazzo lost again and finally decided to go and take cheerleader Melissa up on her offer of being a mentor type figure. This got a 41, which is really good. I was expecting it to definitely be lower than the Kathy Kelly, Toni Storm segment, but pretty good. The Predator storyline advanced. Cheerleader Melissa was good. Deonna Purrazzo was poor. That's fine. She also got penalised for having an awful gimmick, but that's fine. She'll get better at it, I hope. So now let's move on to the next matchup where we have Hangman Page back in action, taking on the Murder Hawk monster, Lance Archer. A tough match for him to come back with, and it is. In just over 12.5 minutes, Hangman Page does pick up the win with the last shot lariat. Last call lariat, sorry. This second got a 64, which I was kind of hoping for a little bit better. But, 64 will do. Hangman Page had an in-ring performance of 64. Lance Archer had a performance of 49. Lance Archer's picked up another loss. This is the first loss in a while. Him and Jake Roberts have been calling out people with open challenges, and he's been able to pick up all the wins. So what's next for the Murder Hawk monster? Who knows? Well, I know, but I'm not going to tell you because that would ruin the surprise. I don't know why I did that. Lance Archer was penalised for inconsistency, for stamina, and for a declining physical ability, so maybe I made that match a little bit too long for Lancey there. But a bit disappointing that it was only like 12 minutes long and he's out of breath. But Paige got no penalties because Paige is amazing. So now let's move on to the next segment where after the match Mr. Brody Lee's music hits. He walks out to the ring, staring intensely at Paige. He gets to the edge of the ring and then starts to applaud. He sits on the ropes, opening them up for Paige to exit through. Paige looks unsure, but eventually leaves the ring and nods to Mr. Brody Lee. He walks to the back with a confused look on his face. So the Dark Order Grove storyline advanced with this segment. Paige struggled going off script. It got a 64 rating, which isn't bad. So, obviously the last time we saw Hangman Page, he was getting thrown off the stage by Kenny Omega after Kenny turned on him. Kenny then said the next week he doesn't, he hasn't even spoken his name. He's just called him the Cowboy. And he's just, said, I don't have time for him. So, maybe Hangman is going to use this opportunity to join the Dark Order. Who knows? But I'm sure we'll hear from Page in the coming weeks, and he'll be able to shed a bit of light on what he's thinking about, because we haven't seen him for 3 weeks at this point, maybe a month. For a few weeks he's been off TV. But yeah, Hangman Page got a penalty for some poor improvising, but yeah, that happens. That's all right. So now let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we have Brit Baker is waiting in the ring with a microphone. We'll say that there was an advert break there, and then when we come back from the advert, she's already in the ring with the mic. Hello and welcome to the waiting room. This week I will be talking to you all about submission technique. I spelled both of those words wrong, haven't I? Anyway, now to do that, I need a wonderful assistant, so please welcome Aria Blake. Aria Blake walks down to the ring sheepishly. She climbs in and stands next to Brit. Oh, come on, don't be shy. Okay, so just lay down on the mat like that. Yep, that's perfect. Now, to get the full effect out of a submission move, you need to hold it for as long as you can. Even if they tap out or grab the rope, you don't let go, because whoever is dumb enough to get in the ring with you needs to remember what you can do to them. Brit Baker locks in the lockjaw and Blake immediately taps. Baker holds the submission and wrenches back further. Blake taps quicker and quicker until she passes out from the pain. Baker stands up and grabs the mic again. Thank you guys. See you next week. Bye. So there we have another edition of The Waiting Room. I forgot what I called it for a second there. And that got a 55 rating. These are getting much better, which I'm really happy about. The Women's Championship storyline has advanced with this segment. I would also... does this sound like a bit of a dick thing to say? Like, I'd love to see this in real life when it's my idea. Like, I'm doing it and I'm like, God, you know what? They should do this in real life. It's a really smart idea. But I do think, she can hold a crowd. I think she would be great doing this in, just give her a microphone and like a weekly talk show type dealio. Like the highlight reel or whatever the Miz's one was called, Miz TV, something like that. Just get her out there. Let her do her thing, because she's great. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment, where we have Darby Allin in his first Inner Circle matchup. He's trying to get through to face Chris Jericho at Full Gear, but first he has to get through Santana, Ortiz, and Scorpio Sky. And this week, he is taking on Ortiz, and he does manage to pick up the victory in 15 minutes and 21 seconds with a coffin drop. It's got a 76 rating, which is so bleeding good. Love that. Darby Allin had a performance of 77. You see, this is what happens when you give Darby Allin loads of money, so he's not pissed off at you anymore. He gets good ratings again, because all his ratings for ages have been like the high 50s, because he's been angry at me. But now he loves me again. 77 rating. Amazing. Ortiz was really off his game. Jim Ross and Excalibur worked well together. He had a hot new move, and the match got the crowd even bloody hotter. What was that? Just 2 penalties there for Ortiz, holding back an inconsistency. So yeah, Darby Allin, he's through the first member of the Inner Circle. Next week, he's going to be taking on Santana. And, if he gets through that, then Scorp. And if he gets through that, then Chris Jericho. Then Full Gear. Then the lights of a pay-per-view. But let's move on to the next segment, where we go backstage to the Inner Circle locker room and we see Chris Jericho absolutely furious, throwing bins and tipping over tables. They got a 72 rating. Lack of anything interesting happening. I thought Chris Jericho would be able to hold down a 5-minute segment. I know in real life this would never take 5 minutes, but I'm trying to get good ratings. I'm trying to play the game well, okay guys? Get off my back, leave me alone. So the lack of anything interesting happening in this segment was a problem. So maybe next time I would need to make that one 4 minutes with Jericho instead of 5. But that's fine. But it was also limited for being short. So who knows? It was limited for being short, but also nothing interesting happened. So I don't know. So maybe instead of 5 minutes, I should make them more like 6 minutes. I don't know. I'm playing around with it. I'll figure it all out. Anyway, let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we have the number 1 contendership matchup between the Dark Order and Private Party. The winner will go on to Full Gear to face FTR for the Tag Team Championships. And in a decent match, it is Private Party who pick up the victory in 20 minutes and 45 seconds when Cassidy pinned Uno with the gin and juice. Stu Grayson had a performance of 50. Evil Uno had one of 47. Mark Quinn 61. Isaiah Cassidy 62. This got a 60 overall. Bit of an idiot, messed up with this one a little bit. The Dark Order storyline gained heat, which is good, and the tag title storyline advanced. But the match dragged. It was too long because I made it longer, and then I forgot that I said it to steal the show, which then makes it all out, which means you can't go past 15 minutes. So it was a bit, that was my fault. I set that it was all out, and then when I finished booking it, I went through and I thought, I want to make this match really long, make it like over 20 minutes. And I forgot that I'd put that on there. So yeah, it was my bad. But everyone was penalised for inconsistency, and it was penalised for being too long for its all-out content. But that's okay. Still got a 60 rating, which is pretty decent. So now let's move on to the next segment, where we go backstage and we see FTR, MJF, and Tully Blanchard watching Private Party celebrating in the ring. Curious that there's no Sean Spears there. Just saying. Just putting it out there. He's the leader of the Four Horsemen, and the rest of them are there. Where's Sean? Who knows? The segment got a 63 rating. The TNT Championship storyline advanced with this segment and gained heat, and the tag title storyline advanced. MJF was penalised for low morale again. Yeah, he's been on the show again. What a legend. Twice in one night. How good. So a bit, who knows what's going to happen here. Sean Spears not there, but the rest of the Four Horsemen. Just saying. And we have another match officially confirmed for Full Gear. It is FTR versus Private Party. Let's move on to the next segment of the show, where we will see who Jon Moxley will be facing in the main event this evening. And it is... God's sake. It is a debuting Davey Boy Smith Jr. making his AEW debut. That's what debuting means. He debuted his Egomaniac gimmick, and he got an initial rating of awful. Which is great. Love that. Everyone's gimmicks are awful. Segment got a 49 rating. I didn't want Dustin Rhodes doing it, that's my bad. But yeah, just Davey Boy Smith Jr. is all elite. How lovely. And he's in the main event on the first show he's ever been on. Sorry, I'm rambling. It's really hot in this room. I had to close all the windows and turn the fan off and stuff, and it's bloody boiling. My brain is just not working. Anyway, let's move on to that main event. Oh, yes. Yes. And it is Jon Moxley who picks up the win in a superb match in 14 minutes, 40 seconds with a paradigm shift. Jon Moxley had a performance of 91. Yes, please. Davey Boy Smith Jr. had a performance of 54. Not bad for his debut. The World Championship storyline advanced and gained heat because we've got an 81 rated main event. That might be the joint highest rated match we've had. Not sure though. There were times that there was a definite lack of psychology on display, and the match tended to drift a little. Oh well, that's okay. The segment was penalised for lack of psychology. Davey Boy Smith was penalised for inconsistency and an awful gimmick. He also got bonus for star quality though, and Jon Moxley got a bonus for being an amazing babyface. An amazing face. No. Anyway, so that was the main event. Now let's move on to the final segment of the show. Oh, I forgot to say, Kenny Omega was at ringside. I had it in the thing. It never comes up at the top. I'm not sure why, but He was at ringside watching on, and after the bell, Omega hops the barrier and slides into the ring. He attacks Mox from behind and throws him over the ropes. The two men brawl up the ramp and through the tunnel. They continue backstage into the gorilla position, and Moxley throws Omega over a production table, scattering monitors onto the floor. Omega gets back to his feet and hits Mox with a running knee. Kenny climbs on top of him and hits elbows until blood is gushing from Moxley's face. Omega gets up, pulls the limp Moxley to his feet. He then picks him up and powerbombs him through the table. Omega staggers off as Moxley lays unmoving, and we fade to black. This got an 89 rating. Best rating of the series. How good? That's really good. I can't wait for these two to have a match. I'm really excited. The TNT Championship storyline has automatically advanced, and the world... Why did the TNT Championship storyline advance? None of these people are... I don't know. Anyway, it advanced with this segment. The World Championship storyline advanced and gained heat, which is beautiful. It was limited for being short. Again, I did it 5 minutes, so maybe I need to make those longer than 5. Not sure, I guess in the future I will do that. I thought it was like 5. I don't know. I'm working it out still. But yeah, an 89 rating to end the show. That's going to get people back next week, surely. So now let's go on and finish the show and see the rating that we got. We got an 80. Best show of the series. That was great. I thought it was going to be high, but I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to jinx it, and I didn't want to look stupid when it came through and it was like 61, and I was like, oh, okay. I messed up again. But no, that was a great show. That opening match 70, Darby Allin 76, Jon Moxley 81, that final segment 89, like Death Triangle getting a 72 and an 83, Brit Baker, the waiting room, getting a 55. Hangman Page, I was kind of hoping for a little bit more from that one, to be honest, and the Private Party one I was, but again, that was my fault. But you know what? We got an 80 rating and the show increased our popularity. Right, listen to how many regions. 38 regions. Amazing. That's so good. Yeah, best show of the series so far. I think joint best match. I'll check that afterwards. But yeah, amazing. Oh yes, I'm really hyped up about that. That's really good. So let's go back to the main screen. Let's go through the emails. Let's look at the top 100s and the injuries and things like that. And yeah, I'll see you in a sec. Okay, so here we are back on the main screen. Let's see if there's any news coming on. Impact are looking to extend Sabu's contract. Tessa Blanchard is having a new feud. The North versus the Rascals 2. Yeah, I haven't signed them on exclusive deals, which I might have to because I'm worried that they're going to get injured or something. Ring of Honor looking to sign more people, apparently, because why not? And Mokokota Jr. is staying with AAA. So we got an 80 rating and a 2.53 TV rating. Let's look at NXT. They got 71 and a 2.33. We absolutely demolished them. And they even had an interview with Triple H to get a high rating because they're chumps. Who are the brain damagers? Samuel Shaw and Trevor Lee. I feel like I've looked at that before and I just don't remember. So yeah, we absolutely demolished them this week. We might even have beaten Ring... No, I shouldn't. Why did I even say that? Shouldn't have even said that. Clearly we're not going to beat them. They got an 89 rated main event. They got an 86 rated show. Because, yeah, they're just amazing at this game. And Stardom got a 51 rating. So now let's look at the emails. Just got drug test fees and just our viewing figures. Nothing really of interest there. So now let's look at the top 100s. And I'll be back with those in a few seconds. Okay, so here we are on the top 100s. That is the best show by 3 ratings. By a huge margin on this game. Amazing. I love that. Top 100 matches. Oh, it's joint second place. The top one is a Death Triangle defeating the Elite. And then the Elite defeating the Dark Order. And then it is Jon Moxley defeating Davey Boy Smith Jr., which is nice. Top attendances. We still haven't hit over 6,000 for an episode of Dynamite, which isn't that good. Hopefully next week we will after that big show. That's the highest rating we've had as well. The most viewers. Just, yeah, an all-round great show. Now, I'm just going to quickly show the injury screen so you can see Rey Fénix's injury, and then we'll call it an episode. Okay, so Joey Janela is on vacation for another 25 days. I let him have a month off because he was also angry. And yeah, Ray Phoenix had a lateral something epicondylitis, and he can only work angles for 6 months and 2 weeks. It was, like I said, it was over a year, and we did the surgery, so we got it about half the time, but still annoying. Annoying to say the least. But alas, that's going to do it for this episode. You'll have to go a few more days without hearing my lovely voice. I know that, like I said in a couple episodes ago, the upload schedule was being a bit spotty, but I know when I'm moving into my new place now, I know when I'm going to be able to move my computer up and everything like that. So hopefully from, it feels like ages away, but from sort of like the middle of September onwards, we should be back to the regular schedule. Hopefully before, if we can. Like I said, I'm just sort of doing them whenever I can at the moment. I'm kind of in between where I live now and the place I'm moving to, like the city I'm moving to. So everything's just all a bit like up in the air, and obviously I can't lug my like giant computer around with me everywhere I go. So it's kind of like when I'm home for a couple of days, I try and, you know, whack out a few episodes, get them all ready, and schedule them to go up. So yeah, thank you all for being patient with me. And yeah, we'll be back to some more regular uploading very soon. Well, like a month, I guess, not very soon. But yeah, again, thank you all for watching. If you did enjoy it, please subscribe. Like 50% of the people that watch this aren't subscribed. So if you just want to click that little button, it'll make me feel good when I look at my thing and it's gone up by like 1, and I'm like, oh yes, I bleeding did it. And yeah, just have a wonderful time in your life. I hope that you're enjoying the sun. It's too hot for me, I don't like it. But if you like it, I hope you're enjoying it. And I'll see you for the next episode very soon. Goodbye.